So you mentioned how that for a lot of years you weren't exactly all fired up, at least at the starting point,
Mhm.
to get to spring training. Would it have been different last year in your final year if you had ended up signing with the Mariners like you've openly talked about how badly you wanted to do? Like, would that have been a spring training where you would have been absolutely fired up?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been. It's one of those things. Like I loved my time with the Mets, and I love my time with the A's. I love my time with the Twins, and I'm so happy that like I was, you know, brought into those fan bases and brought into those fandoms. But like, you know, especially like in New York, like I was like, yeah, like you'd love that 1986 team. I'm like, guys, I didn't know until I got here. I couldn't have told you who won the World Series in 1986. Like, I didn't grow up a Mets fan. Like, why do you like? So, I grew up a Mariners fan though, and buying in. There's just something special about playing for your hometown team, and I've heard this from everyone who went back and played for their hometown team. There's so many guys who were like, everyone tried to go back and like they didn't get to play for them and play for them last year. They tried to get there for 1 year because they wanted to experience it, and they said it's just like the pressure's just. It just feels like you're a kid again. Um, you're bought in. You see the people you saw. Like I lost my mind when I saw Griffey last or 2 years ago. I met him. Corey Hunter introduced me, and that was. I mean, he was in his defense. He was very like, "Oh, great to meet you," and like was leaving, but like it didn't matter. He could have punched me in the face, and I would have been like, "That was awesome." So that was one of the coolest things ever. He's like, he's King Griffey Jr. So like that's I met Nolan Ryan, I've met, Reggie Jackson. I've met I'm Rick Anderson, but like meeting Griffey was just another level for me. So I think that I would have really been able to buy in. I also would have been able to sleep in my own home, a house I bought 3 years ago that I never get to live in for more than 4 months out of the year. It would just felt like we were going on business trips. I think that would have changed my perception. I think my whole career if it was like that. If I were Joe Mauer and just stayed at home, I would have a different relationship with what the season means for me.
And I would say if you were at Mariners spring training, the other thing that you would love, I mean, you'd be working out with Ichiro all the time. I mean, it's just so casual how he'll just walk in there. He's all dressed and ready to go. You
Yeah,
could have been
he's
his
in better
throwing
shape than you
partner. Like
too.
Julio wanted that this year, but you could say, "Hey, Julio, man, can we split some time here?"
Exactly. Yeah, that would have been really cool too. I did get to play against Ichiro when he was with the Marlins, but I missed him in the lineup by one batter because I got pulled because I was getting lit up, and it was really like the saddest thing. I was like, dang it, dude, you can just pitch a little bit better, get one more hitter, just so you could face him. So yeah, I never got to face Ichiro. That would have been really cool. I have met him once. I met him in high school because he was around during our high school state championship game. I think he was like rehabbing something. And yeah, it was pretty cool. It was like the Griffey thing. Is like, hey, high school kids, what's up? Like, because I've also done that, so I don't blame him for that. But still, just like seeing him in the flesh would be super cool.
What were you going to throw to him? Do you have the pitch sequence already mapped out? Like,
Oh no,
I can see him here.
I just didn't even bother. I just assumed the ball it was just gonna be a liner up the middle. So I was like, I'll probably just show you change it away and just let you do it. So I can just be like, nice. I saw
Nice.
the quintessential Ichiro single.
Was your state title game at T-Mobile Park?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, some years it's there. Some years they do it in other places, like out in Tri-Cities or whatever.
They'll do it in
but,
Tri-Cities or they did in Cheney for a long time, but
Mhm.
I don't think they do that anymore.
Okay, yeah, that sounds right. Well, I am curious just a little bit about what you said on that Twitch stream a few months back about like the same topic. You really wanting to play for the Mariners. I know you talked about there was even a couple other negotiations going on that you kind of let go by the wayside because you were really holding on to this idea. So like I guess for what you feel comfortable sharing, like did you ever get to the table or was it never even really a discussion with coming home to play in Seattle?
Yeah, it never got to the table. There was some like half excitement at times, but as we see with Jerry and the brass now, it's like things move really slowly. Like they're not going to sign. They're not going to go sign a. They're not going to sign like a top level reliever, and they're not going to sign a mid tier reliever either. Like a solid, pitcher that has a high ceiling. Maybe they're going to sign diamond in the rough for nothing, or they're going to you get him from the from their own organization. That's how they run the bullpen, which, from a financial standpoint makes a lot of sense. And I don't blame them for that. Most teams do that now, but like it's like, can I help the team? Yeah. Like there's no doubt in my mind that I would be a guy who absolutely helps lock that bullpen down, especially being at home. I just like, there was no scenario in where I wouldn't be wildly successful and probably have my best year. So like having that confidence, but again, you have that, they don't know that. So like you don't know that either. You're just really confident. So it was frustrating at times. And there was some other things like my agent has a relationship with him. Like he's had teams with players with them before. He's Robbie Ray. Like, so he's well, he talks to them regularly. And we're just like, they'll be like, how's Trevor feel about playing here? Like next year, they've said a couple times, right? Like just kind of offhand, really good. I don't know what to tell you. I probably would have taken a pay cut. I would have taken less money to go to Seattle than I took in Oakland. Like, no, like money was not an option, not an object. Frankly, I just wanted to have fun and enjoy myself and not worry about it. And it just never got there because that's just not what happens in negotiations. You don't just go, "Hey, I'll take less money," because that's just not a good. It's not a good way to approach those things, and you kind of handcuff your agent too. And I don't want to do that either. So, but yeah, the acing coalesced because it was kind of the next best thing.
If you had played for the Mariners last year, would you still be retired right now?
I would say it's a lot less likely, probably. But again, it depends on how it went, or maybe maybe it went great and we just missed the playoffs, or same thing happened. Say the same thing happened last year as it did last year, and then it was just pretty clear. They're like, thank you for everything, but but it would have been a nice little thank you. I did it. Great. I'll see you guys opening day next year because I'm coming. So that would have been great. But yeah, I don't know. I think that we just didn't know how it would have been. We don't know what our life would have been. Like my wife didn't know what it'd be like to have be around all of her friends all summer and be like have things to do and not have to worry about if she's gonna go to. She didn't go to that many games. Like she just didn't like baseball that much, which is okay. You don't have to fake it. So it's just she liked it. It was fine, but she didn't go to baseball games when she was a kid. She didn't really know anything about baseball until she met me. So I never really needed that. So it just became who knows how much more fun and how much more enjoyment we would have had if we were able to do it here.
Did the Mariners making the playoffs in 22 increase the want more?
I mean, it didn't hurt.
Yeah.
It didn't hurt, but wanting to be a part of the team that did it or be a part of the team this turnaround and be here, seeing the whole thing from the beginning to now and just being on the team when it happened would have been so cool. They had they had Boyd.
Yeah,
Boyd
Matt,
got to do it.
I was going to mention
Pretty much everyone but me and Snell has, frankly.
Yeah.
Which is
I was trying to think of what were you thinking when you're watching Matt Boyd in that clubhouse?
I felt
a dream come true.
For him. I was really happy for him, and then I got to throw with him. No, after that season, I threw with him and Paxton, and so we talked. I was like, "How awesome was that?" He's like, "It was really really cool." And he was like, even though I was barely on the roster. I was just there for long relief, just in case the game blew up, and it never did. The pitchers all threw well, but he goes, even then, man, it was something special. He goes, and I was like, yeah, it would have been freaking awesome because I was at the 18 inning game. I had to leave early. I was like, I cannot watch a 20 inning. I cannot do this right now. I just watched 10,000 innings. I can't do this. And then they got beat the next inning. But that's good for him. I'm happy for him. And I actually knew him from when we were in high school. He was a year younger than me, and I played summer ball with all of his Eastside Catholic teammates. So I knew of him. He just played on another team. He would not play with us because with me and him, we would have just destroyed everybody probably. But he I knew his dad before I knew him, which was weird. But I'm happy for him. That was pretty awesome.
Was that day not amazing? We were there too, Trevor. Was it not just looking around and man,
the call was great.
This is what this park was built for.
Oh, the fan base here is the atmosphere at that park, even on the not so great years, it's just a great place to go see a game. Especially when the weather's nice here in June and July. there's nowhere there's just nowhere better. And people like going to sports here. Like we draw the best for the soccer team too. Like the Seahawks, no matter how good they are, that place is packed. So we come out for sports, and it's always been an awesome time to be here. And I've been in the bullpen since we've been coming here, and so I always that's an awesome bullpen, especially for seeing people. I saw people every inning, and it was really cool. So, but yeah, it was electric. Then I got to know Ace, who gave up the homer, Acevedo, and he is literally like the sweetest guy, and he just sits in his locker and he watches anime all day, and he's just just the nicest person ever, and just like he couldn't. Every time we'd watch the homer, so we would go over like facing Cal Raleigh this year, and they would show his highlights, and Ace's homer would come out, and he'd just be like every time. So getting to know him tempered it a little bit, but they were pretty cool with me being like, guys, I pull for the Mariners, so I'm sorry.
So I have 2 follow-ups to that. Number 1, what inning did you leave in during that 18-inning game?
17th.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
So
like I couldn't do it. I was starving, and I'm like, and I hadn't had a beer in 10 innings. I was just like, I'm so tired and so hungry, and I am at a baseball game, and I've been done for 3 days. I have to get out of here. So we left, and everyone was just trying to hit homers. Like I was getting so frustrated watching Cal and Kelnick just round out to second. I'm like, stop trying to hit the solo homer. Just get on base, please. But the swings got harder and harder and harder as anyway. I knew it was going to be a solo homer, and unfortunately, the Astros got it first.
you sound a lot like TJ. Not only had TJ not eaten at that game in hours because I think he ate a little bit before, but he was like, well, this game will be 3 hours. It'll be like 4:00 when it's over. I'll be fine. Not only was it 2 baseball games for the price of 1, but you're talking like nerves and on top of not eating basically all day, on top of watching the first playoff game in 20 years or whatever. So like, we didn't leave early, but I can understand from your perspective why you did, because I was drained by the end of it. We all were, not just from like the excruciating loss and trying to watch everybody just swing for the fences basically every extra inning, like you mentioned, but like just the fact of how long you have to sit there too.
I was there with my buddies too, and I left them. I'm like, you guys, they're like, we're not leaving. I'm like, you didn't watch as much baseball as I did, and I just can't be as invested as you. Though I do very much dislike the Astros. I just wasn't as invested. I'm still playing, but now I think if it were this year, I'd definitely stay.